Mark 5, chapter 21. Jesus heals in response to faith. Okay.
Jesus got into the boat again and went back to the other side of the lake, where a large crowd gathered around him on the shore. Then a leader of the local synagogue, whose name was
Jairus,
arrived. When he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet, pleading fervently with him. "My little daughter is dying," he said. "Please come and lay your hands on her. Heal her so she can live." Jesus went with him, and all the people followed, crowding him around him. A woman in the crowd had suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding. She had suffered a great deal from many doctors, and over the years she had spent everything she had to pay them. But she had gotten no better. In fact, she had gotten worse. She had heard about Jesus, and so she came up behind him through the crowd and touched his robe, for she thought to herself, "If I can just touch his robe, I will be healed." Immediately the bleeding stopped, and she could feel in her body that she had been healed of her terrible condition. Jesus realized at once that healing power had gone out from him, so he turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my robe?" His disciples said to him, "Look at this crowd pressing around you. How can you ask who touched me?" But he kept on looking around to see who had done it. Then the frightened woman, trembling at the realization of what had happened to her, came and fell to her knees in front of him and told him what she had done. And she said to you, and he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. Your suffering is over." While he was still speaking to her, messengers arrived from the home of Jairus, the leader of the synagogue. They told him, "Your daughter is dead. There is no use troubling the teacher now." But Jesus overheard them and said to Jairus, "Don't be afraid, just have faith." Then Jesus stopped the crowd and wouldn't let anyone go with him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they came to the home of the synagogue leader, Jesus saw much commotion and weeping and wailing. He went inside and asked, "Why all this commotion and weeping? The child isn't dead, she's only asleep." The crowd laughed at him, but he made them all leave, and he took the girl's father and mother and his 3 disciples into the room where the girl was lying. Holding her hand, he said to her, "Talitha Koum," which means, "Little girl, get up." And the girl, who was 12 years old, immediately stood up and walked around. They were overwhelmed and totally amazed. Jesus gave them strict orders not to tell anyone what had happened, and then he told them to give her something to eat.
Okay. So how did this story start out?
When Jesus got in the boat again.
That's right. And they went over to the other side. And there was a large crowd. And then do you remember who came up to him? What the guy's name was?
Jairus.
Do you remember who he was?
The dad of a daughter.
Right, and he was a leader in the
synagogue.
Right.
Synagogue.
That's right. That's right. So, what did he say to Jesus when he came to him? You remember what he told Jesus about his daughter?
She was sick, really, really sick, and she was dying.
That's right. Can you imagine how upset Daddy would be if you were really sick and you were dying?
Yeah, that's what is happening to Miss Debbie's father-in-law.
He's real sick and he's dying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what did you make? Daddy's sick right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you do for Daddy tonight that was very sweet?
Made a book.
That's right. You made a book that you're letting Daddy know that you hope that Daddy gets better, right? Because it hurts you when Daddy's sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just like it hurt this man when his daughter was sick and he knew that she was dying. That's got to be pretty heavy on his heart, right? But then while he was trying to ask Jesus if Jesus would come to his house, what happened?
A lady came up and she thought or said, if I touch his robe, it'll help me feel better. And she touched it and bleeding immediately stopped.
That's right. She was immediately healed. Why do you think that she was healed?
Because she touched Jesus.
Well, there were a lot of people standing around Jesus. It said there was a huge crowd. Were any of the other people being healed just because they brushed up against Jesus? No. So what do you think that she had that the others didn't have?
Blood.
No.
Love, faith.
Well, what did she do when she decided to reach out and touch? Why was she reaching out and touching it? Because she
wanted to feel better?
Well, no. It said she thought to herself, if I can just touch his robe, I will be healed. So she had something. Right? Do you know what we call that? It's called faith.
Faith.
Right. She had faith that Jesus could heal her. Right? And then when she touched Jesus, right? And there was a bunch of people brushing into him, right? So when he said, "Who touched me?" the disciples were like, "What do you mean, who touched you? There's all kinds of people around us bumping into us." But Jesus knew that her faith had healed her, right? It said he realized at once that healing power had gone out through him, right? And then what did he say? Why did Jesus say, let's look at it right here. Let's see why Jesus said that she was healed. What made her well? Look right here. Read it.
Daughter.
Say it out loud.
Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. Your suffering is over.
So, what made her well? What did he just say?
He just said, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. Your suffering is over.
So what did Jesus say is what made her well? You just read it. Look at it.
Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go.
Stop. Okay. So look at that sentence. What does that sentence say that made her well?
Her faith.
That's right. Her faith made her well, right? And do you know that that's what Jesus says we have to have for our sins to be forgiven? He says it's our faith, our belief in him, that is what heals us from our sins too. So it's our faith that matters. So then after that, somebody came up from Jairus' house, and what did they tell them? What did they tell Jairus had happened to
Your daughter died.
That's right. And then they said, did they say, "Oh, hurry with the teacher, hurry with Jesus," or did they say? They said, "Don't worry about Jesus. She's already dead," right? So they thought it was too late, right? They thought it was absolutely too late. You know, there's some people that might think that it's too late for their sins to be forgiven. There's some people that might think that they've sinned too much for Jesus to be able to forgive them. And do you think that's true?
Mm-mm.
That's right. That's right. Our faith at any time. So then Jesus went with Jairus to his house, right? And did he bring all the crowd with him?
Mm-mm.
That's right. He told them to stay. And then what did he tell the people when he got there? When he saw all the people sad? Imagine, just like you were sad that Daddy was sick. But what if Daddy had died and Daddy was gone to heaven and you weren't going to see Daddy again until you were in heaven with him? You'd be very sad, right? Just like Daddy would be very sad. So all of these people were so sad. And then Jesus came in and told them, "She's just
sleeping."
Right.
And all the crowd laughed.
That's right. They laughed because they didn't even think that was possible. And then Jesus went into the room, and then he held her hand, and what did he say to her?
Did you let it cut on?
That's right. And then what did that mean, though? Do you remember what it meant?
That means, little girl, get up.
That's right. You know, God calls us his little children. Even Daddy. I am a little child to God.
Yeah, even Bill.
And no matter what we've done, God will reach out his hand and he'll say, "Little child, raise up, rise up." He did it to Peter when he fell under the water because he lost his faith for a minute. No matter, even if we lose our faith, even if we fall back a little bit, God will always reach out and he'll say, "Little child, rise up, walk with me again." And that's what he did. And then after he raised her up, do you remember what he told him to do for the little girl?
Overwhelmed.
No, remember, all the people were amazed, right? But then what did Jesus tell them? He said, "Don't tell anybody about what happened." And then what did he tell them to give the girl?
Food.
That's right. Said, give her some food. Feed her. Just like he says, "Go and feed my sheep." Right? So this whole story, there's parts of it that it's talking about Jesus physically healing people. But what's more important that Jesus heal? Our bodies or our hearts? Do you know? Are you sleepy? Are you falling asleep on me? What's more important? What's more important? That Jesus heal us from sickness or heal us from our sin?
Heal us from our sin.
That's right. And our sin is a sickness in our heart, right? Not our heart, our physical heart, but in our soul and our spirit.
Not
right?
like a heart attack.
Right.
Because I don't really know what that means.
Yeah. So Jesus, the more important healing is the healing that takes place inside and that changes us for eternity, right? So he's talking about both those things in there. You want to say the prayer tonight, or do you want Daddy to? You want to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
Lord, we're thankful you gave us your word to read the Bible. And we're thankful you let other people hear this thing I read and Daddy asked questions about. And there might be some people who don't know you, Lord. I just pray that everyone that doesn't know you could see this video. Amen.
Yes. Thank you. Amen. Amen.
Can we see the video?
Yeah.